Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at this node tree setup that I did. Basically, this is like poke operations, similar to Blender on poke operation, but I'm using this Sverchok BMesh Ops node, and doing it this way is slightly a little bit complicated, but you can do a little bit more as well. So BMesh Ops, this one is actually a big node. This is, I don't know, I think it's still like a beta kind of node, or even like a alpha, because I found that the V012, all this parameter doesn't work. This node is actually quite huge, and it covers a lot of Blender's own mesh operator, which is this guy right here. Let me quickly show this. Okay, so probably this is something that is nice to talk about, BMesh operators, and compare it. This is all like the documentation for these operators. It's useful if you are doing a lot of BMesh operations. BMesh is kind of like a type of data in Blender that can handle mesh data, I believe. So instead of always thinking like vertices, edges, and polygon face, with BMesh you can perform certain operation really fast. And it's all this like poke for the polygon face, and then it's got all these parameters. And this BMesh Ops in Sverchok actually try to do that. Although I found this parameter doesn't work yet, so I'm not gonna do all this. I'm gonna just zero it out and refresh. Okay, so what we get here is a torus. It's still like a live object. I can change it, and this guy I can randomize it. But you see that I'm actually already performing a poke operations. If I turn off the matte cap and then just simply turn on the draw all edges, so the poke is already happening, and turn off ambient occlusion. What we have is, if I plug this into the locations, I can poke this guy, poke it up or poke it down, so it's gonna work. And then if I'm using like a calculate normal for the normal as well, I'm getting this. I can do this, and I can assign like a random number, or just like no randomness, just a normal poke out, poke in, or random. So I think I found that's pretty cool, and everything is still alive. I can do this from scratch, or you can just grab this, the whole setup. I can do this from scratch, so I'll start a new Blender, and let's do this like really super fast and totally from scratch. So file, save as. I'm not actually spitting this out. It's like a normal workflow once you know what you're doing. BMesh poke ops. And if you're typing it correctly, I'm gonna save it on drive E. So I'm gonna switch to compositing, Sverchok add-on installed, and new. I'll start with torus, viewer draw, and I always do this. Okay, we have this guy. Let's reduce the number of details for now. Yeah, that seems to be okay. And BMesh operators, I know that I'm gonna be like using these BMesh operators, and it's gonna be poke. This guy is expecting MeshList, so it's a different type of data that so you need to convert it first, and we actually we do have it. So BMesh in and BMesh out, you need to use this guy, BMesh in and BMesh out, and it needs to be converted into BMesh kind of type of data. So from this vertices and polygon, you plug it in, and then BMesh, now it's a BMesh type of data. You can plug it in and output it again as a normal vertices, edges, and poly, and you can see it's already working with the poke. Unfortunately, like I said, this doesn't work. I don't know why. It's a beta node. Yes, maybe I think the Sverchok devs say that this node is probably not the best implementation. It's good for Polygon. It's good for Python codes and add-on, I believe. I don't know if it's like a nodes like this, maybe it's not very efficient, maybe. So let's see. Now we actually just need to push the poke. I wish that this guy can do it, but of course you don't have the input anyway. So in order to do this, I need to kind of do this center polygons and then all this fancy stuff. This is like doing it the hard way, like I say. Select mesh by locations. It's a little bit convoluted, but if you set it up this way, you can do a lot more. So normal goes origin to the center by the center and radius. So this, we're gonna use these center polygons to find the center of each polygon face, grab the center, and we're gonna use that as a radius to select our points here in the middle. And then because it's a poke operation, we can then use a transform select and use the mask. So the mask gonna be vertices type of mask. This one already vertices. All good. This is the output polygon vertices and polygon edge. I think this is the first one. We need some kind of matrix in. If true, and then we're gonna push the poke, and currently it doesn't seem to work. Maybe I need to increase or decrease the radius, or oh, I know why. So center polygons and then select mesh, but we need to pipe in the data as well into this guy. Hopefully it's starting to work. Still not working because we need to this is the mask. Okay, this is the vertices and the polygon edge. Okay, cool. Now it's seems to be working. We just need to selectively change the radius of this guy in order to select just the center of each polygon face, and then we can sort of move it. So it's become a poke. Remember, this is still being controlled by this radius. So it's really fancy stuff. You can already see. Normally you're not able to do that like on the fly. Yeah, but this is like a lot of more control. I'm gonna save this, and then what we really want for pokes, usually to poke it in the normal. So for the normal, we can use calculate normals, get our objects, and the output of the vertex normal goes into these matrix stuff. So you can either just push it in the XYZ, or if you wanna do it in more controllable way, you can use the vertex normal like that. So I think that's working. Yeah, and this goes into the locations, but you can also use a vector math and multiply scalar, and depending on this value here, it's gonna multiply the vector out or in. So in's like, that's like going in the opposite directions. So poke in and poke out. So that's a normal poke. And of course you can also randomize this poke or use noise to have more controllable poke. So this is controlling the radius, should be like just a small number. Something like that. Okay, seems good now. We can still poke it and use random number generator, float, and you can see here, as I increase this guy, we can see the poke kind of randomizing itself. It's very cool. And even cooler is that we can just go back to the torus and it's still live. And then you can also add some kind of randomize input vertices here, and these really can make like some kind of crystallized donuts or something. Oh yeah, that's a little bit too crazy. Maybe just add another scalar here or multiply it. So less poke, randomize, not too high, it's small randomizations, and increase the number here, and you get this guy. Just hide the edges and we get like a crystallized, some kind of torus crystallized. So yeah, that's a quick look at how we can use this BMesh Ops operation. So of course, this node just does the poke for every single face. There is this BMesh element that, so you can kind of mask which polygon face you want to poke, but I'm not gonna do that. I think this node might get developed further until it's becoming something that's workable. But for now, it's very useful just to do this kind of randomized crystallizations of a torus or a donut. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think, and if you have any feedback, suggestion, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.